Park to return to full capacity, so you know the fans are excited. The players are certainly excited as well, and one of those players is joining us right now from inside the stadium, the Dodgers dugout. It is Trevor Bauer. Trevor, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. John Hartug, Jerry Hairston Jr., Nomar Garcia-Parra with you. We know there's a lot to talk about, but I want to begin with reopening day and your thoughts and your teammates' thoughts on being able to have a packed house once again here at Dodger Stadium.
We're all pumped, man. It's going to be awesome. Seeing the stands full of people that love baseball, that out here support us. Like, we love the fans. We love having them come out. Dodger fans travel really well, and we're excited to have them back here at home, Blue Heaven on Earth. It's going to be great.
Well, Trevor, I'm just going to get right to it. There's Nomar here, and I just want to say, MLB obviously came out with a statement today, and I was just about the sticky stuff about pitchers using, and I was just wondering what your reaction is to that.
Legal or illegal?
Well, that looks illegal, but I guess that's not.
Yeah, it looks very illegal, right? It says a combination of sweat and rosin, so I don't know. They can't outlaw sweat, and they give me rosin, so am I going to get suspended for that? I don't know. And I think that's one of the biggest issues right now is that they haven't thought through a lot of these things. They just made the umpires judge, jury, and executioner. So if an umpire thinks that your hand is sticky, even if you have nothing on your hand, and he decides to throw you out because he doesn't like you, doesn't like the team, whatever, maybe you're arguing balls and strikes earlier, there's no appeals process. I can't go argue that my hand wasn't sticky an hour ago or whatever. And you haven't, the best analogy for this is you have basically people who have never seen traffic before have now been given no radar guns and have been told, hey, you're supposed to tell who's speeding and who's not, and then give them tickets, and there's no appeal process. So I'm supposed to look and say, oh, that is sticky, or that isn't sticky, or that guy's going 20 miles an hour, or that guy's going 120 miles an hour. Umpires haven't been trained to know what is sticky and what isn't, and like, if I can hold a ball like this, that's obviously illegal, right? But it's not, because it's sweat and rosin. So it's a mess. Typical MLB fashion, they didn't get a whole lot about this right. However, I will say, it is nice that 4 years later, they are trying to do something about the integrity of the game, because I've been talking to them about this issue for 4 years, and they've done absolutely nothing. So it's nice that they tried, but wrong time to do it in the middle of the season. That needs to be done in the off season.
Hey, Trevor, what's going on? This is Jerry. My question to you is, you talk about Major League Baseball. Where's the Players Association? Usually, when they make a decision like this, doesn't Major League Baseball at least have to ask the Players Association, or at least kind of get involved before they make a unilateral decision?
Well, that's the trick here, is this is actually a rule that's collectively bargained upon and agreed upon. It's written in the rule book in the CBA. So MLB has just not enforced it for the entire history of baseball. So now they've decided to enforce the rule that's on the books. They don't have to consult the PA because it's already been agreed upon. It's a rule. But, of course, we all understand that if there's a rule written and MLB chooses not to enforce it for hundreds of years, can we really consider that a rule? I don't think so. Especially when MLB was telling players and teams for 3 or 4 months already this year, do not change anything. We're not going to enforce it this year. Continue to act as normal. Do what you do, and we'll figure it out in the offseason. That's what's been consistently preached to all players and teams. And now all of a sudden it's like, haha, everything is changing. And next Monday. So you have 7 days. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. And Trevor, another fellow Hart High School product, Tyler Glasnow, he's been very outspoken as well. He has partially torn UCL now, and he's convinced that it is because he stopped using the sunscreen and rosin that he was using before. He tried something different, and he said he was having to grip his fastball and his curveball different, and he thinks that is why he has now suffered possibly a season-ending injury. Are you concerned about other injuries around baseball now because of this?
Absolutely I am. There's a couple of issues, and again, things that MLB hasn't thought about because a lot of the people making these rules never played, but that's 100% a thing. There's guys that sweat a lot, and their hands are wet. I don't know how those people are supposed to get a grip on the ball when the balls are so slick. And so, yeah, of course you're going to have to grip the ball harder, and that activates all the muscles in your forearm in a way that hasn't been done before and isn't healthy. Like, in the sequence of events, your forearm needs to be loose until such a time when it starts to accelerate, and then everything can co-contract and protect the elbow. But if you're gripping the ball initially and going through it, going through your delivery, different than you normally do, of course there's going to be an adjustment period necessary, and of course there can be injuries. The other thing that people haven't thought about is back to this issue: sweat and rosin. If that's illegal and I get suspended, my team has to play down a roster spot. They lose a pitcher. If a couple pitchers get suspended, they lose a couple pitchers. Now the bullpen guys have to carry more innings, so they're going to be overworked. And then those guys may be at risk for injury, even if they've done nothing wrong, just one of their teammates has. So again, it's just it's not the right time to do this at all. But again, to be clear, like, I am in favor of leveling the playing field, and I've been saying that and screaming it for 4 years. And nice to see that they're finally doing something. But typical MLB, they just messed the whole thing up.
You have said about leveling the playing field, and I commend you so much for that. Would you like to see more than just rosin and sweat? Would you like to maybe see that pitchers maybe allow 2 or 3 substances that maybe everybody agrees upon and say, okay, it really doesn't affect the ball as much as some of the stuff that they're using now that is really off the charts?
Now, look, the only way to do this is you have to make the ball somewhat sticky, and then you have to ban everything, except for rosin or whatever. So the way I'd like to see it done is to create a machine. Right now, for those who don't know, the balls are rubbed with mud. So before the game, you get a brand new ball. Someone takes some mud out of a canister and rubs it up, and that's supposed to make the ball grippable. But unfortunately, when the ball gets dried out, it gets really slick and powdery because the mud doesn't stay wet forever, obviously. So what I'd like to see is when the balls come out of the box, there's a little conveyor belt. So you dump the balls in one side, they run down a conveyor belt into a little house, and it's sprayed from all sides with a certain approved substance, whether it's firm grip or whatever else. Like, let's agree upon that substance. The ball comes out the other end and gets dumped into the ball bucket, and it's good to go for 20 or 30 minutes. You don't have to spray enough on it where the leather gets soft or anything like that. And you just do it every single inning. And that way, every ball that gets thrown out has a consistent feel to it. And then when pitchers come in, there's a little swab. You swab their hands, similar to how they do it at TSA, and you send it off to the lab. And if there's anything besides the approved substances on your hand, then you can be retroactively suspended. And that's the only way to do it. But you can't take away the method for pitchers to get a grip on the ball when the balls you're sending out to the mound are super slick in the middle of a season. It's just not right.
Well, first of all, Trevor, that is a tremendous idea. Hopefully, Major League Baseball is listening and they take that into consideration in the near future.
I've told MLB this for 2 or 3 years now, directly to high-ranking officials in MLB, so they know.
Well, especially in the National League, you have pitchers hitting. So my question to you is, are you guys allowed to also use pine tar with the rosin? Because you guys are going to be swinging the bats. What happens when you grip the bat with pine tar? You have to take that to the mound.
Yeah, no clarification on that. They haven't thought through that. Or what happens when a hitter has a bunch of pine tar? Like JT has pine tar on his gloves and obviously on his bat when you see it on his back. So JT hits a home run and I'm excited for him. And I come in, I give him a high five. He's got pine tar in his hand. Do I need to go now wash my hand and hope that I get rid of all of that? What happens if I'm wearing sunscreen on a hot day, a day game, and it happens to mix with the rosin on my hand? Am I supposed to call time and say, hey, can someone come clean my hand, please? Because I think it's too sticky. I need tape remover. I need something out here to clean my hand because I don't want to get suspended. Like, am I supposed to stop the game and ask someone to clean my hand? Like, they haven't thought through these things. There's no clarification on this.
Well, incredibly thoughtful stuff from Trevor Bauer. Trevor, thank you so much for taking time to be with us, and we look forward to seeing how all of this ultimately plays out. Hopefully it's not a giant mess that it seems like it's going to be at this point. But again, thank you so much for taking time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
All right, let's get right